Welcome to iLecture Online. So in this video we're going to compare the Hamiltonian to the Lagrangian equation, and we're going to apply both of them to a very simple example, the simple oscillator, where we have a spring with a spring constant K and a mass with mass M. Remember that the kinetic energy is 1/2 mv squared and the potential energy for a simple oscillator is 1/2 kx squared. And we have some other things for reference. Notice that p dot is the same as mass times the time derivative of the velocity, which essentially is mass times acceleration. And these two equations right here are key to enabling us to solve the Hamiltonian. We're going to show in the next video where these came from, but now we're just going to use them. The partial derivative of the Hamiltonian with respect to the momentum is equal to q dot. Of course, if there's only one dimension, x, then it's the same as x dot. And the partial derivative of the Hamiltonian with respect to the position vector, or not vector, but the position, again, in this case, it would be x, then this is equal to the negative time derivative of the momentum. And remember that the time derivative of the momentum is simply mass times acceleration. So in other words, the partial derivative with respect to the position, x in this case, or the coordinate x, that is equal to negative mass times acceleration, another way of looking at it. So here we have the two equations for the Hamiltonian and for the Lagrangian. This is the kinetic energy plus potential energy versus the kinetic energy minus the potential energy. And then we have Newton's equation, F equals ma, and of course, in the case of something with a spring, we know that the force is equal to minus kx. So how do they compare to one another? How do we solve the problem? Well, in both cases, we're going to change the kinetic and potential energies to 1/2 mv squared and 1/2 kx squared. We do the same over here, but here we're adding them for the total energy. There we're taking the difference between the kinetic and the potential energy. Then continuing, what we're doing here is, on the left side with the Hamiltonian, we're going to divide and multiply the numerator and the denominator by m. So we have an m squared in the numerator. Of course, we need an m in the denominator so that we then change anything. And notice in the numerator we now have m squared times v squared. M times v is momentum, so since they're both squared, we have momentum squared in the numerator divided by 2m. On the right side, we'll just simply leave 1/2 kx squared alone. Then we're going to use these two equations. We're going to take the partial derivative of the Hamiltonian with respect to momentum. So notice that this goes to 0 when we take the partial derivative with respect to momentum, and this one becomes 2p over 2m, which is simply momentum over mass. Momentum is mass times velocity. The masses cancel out, and velocity, of course, is equal to x dot. So we know that the partial derivative of our equation, the Hamiltonian equation, with respect to momentum ends up being x dot. Notice that the general solution to this equation, when we take the partial derivative of the Hamiltonian with respect to momentum, is also x dot. So essentially we say that x dot equals x dot, and so we don't learn anything from that particular discovery. But we also will take the partial derivative of the Hamiltonian with respect to the x. In this case, the general coordinate will be x. And we know that that should equal negative the momentum, the derivative with respect to the time of the momentum. And so in this case, when we do that, notice we're going to take the derivative with respect to x. This goes to 0, there's no x in there, and this becomes simply 2 over 2 kx. The 2's cancel out, so we simply end up with kx. But the general solution of the partial derivative of the Hamiltonian with respect to the coordinate x is minus p dot, and we know that p dot is m times a. So in this case, we realize that kx must equal the negative of p dot, or the negative of ma. And then if we move the ma to the left side, we end up with the equation we would expect to get is that kx plus ma equals 0, or we could write it as a differential equation where we have kx plus mx double dot is equal to 0. And so you can see that this is the known differential equation for the simple oscillator. So we can see that we get the proper equation there. Then, if we then realize over here that f equals negative kx, or kx equals negative f, we can replace kx by a negative f. Then we can cancel both negative signs, and f equals ma. So again, you realize that the Hamiltonian gives us the Newtonian equation F equals ma, and we get the correct differential equation describing the motion of a simple oscillator. How about the Lagrangian? Well, we end up with the same equation, except we have a negative here instead of a positive. We subtract the potential energy from the kinetic energy, and I see I have a mistake here. That should be a negative. Oops. Yep. And then we realize that if we go back and we look at the way in which we solve the Lagrangian equation, then we have the partial derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to x, in this case the x-coordinate, minus the time derivative of the partial derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to velocity. Again, the velocity in the x direction. And if we then do that for our equation up here, the partial derivative with respect to x, this goes to 0. Here we end up with negative 2 over 2 kx, or simply negative kx. And here we have minus the time derivative of the partial derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to velocity, which is over here. So we end up with 2 over 2 mv, or simply mv. But then when we take the time derivative of mv, of course m is a constant, the d dt of v is simply acceleration, so we end up with minus kx minus ma, or if we multiply both sides by negative, we end up with kx plus ma. We end up with the exact same equation, or again, if you replace a by x double dot, notice we get the exact same differential equation for a simple oscillator. So either method will give us the exact same result. And of course, if again we replace kx by negative f right over here, we end up with negative f plus ma equals 0, or f equals ma. Notice we end up with our same Newtonian equation. So you can see that in both cases we end up with the exact same result for the exact same problem. And yes, which method should we use? Well, it depends. If they force you to use Hamiltonian, of course, you must use the Hamiltonian method. We'll show you where this came from. So this is how we solve the problem. We take our Hamiltonian equation, we take the partial derivative with respect to p, the partial derivative with respect to x, or the coordinate that we're dealing with, and then we set the results equal to the general formula, the general solution of the Hamiltonian equation, and from that we derive the proper differential equation and the proper solution. In the case of the Lagrangian, notice that it's the difference between the kinetic and potential energy. We take the partial derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to x minus the time derivative of the partial derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to velocity. And again, we get the very same result. So at least that should show you that either method will get you what you're looking for, as long as, of course, you don't make any mistakes, like I did. Make that a negative instead of a positive. All right, and that is how it's done.
Want me to change it?
Yes, please, put a little negative on there.